Okay, thank you very much. I think we can, yeah, it's 4 past, so I think we can definitely start. And then, of course, if colleagues will join throughout the course of the meeting, they're all the welcome. So, welcome everyone. This is the second session of today for the practical peer-to-peer knowledge exchange of the Urban Transition Mission Center. The first identical session was held this morning European time, mostly for cities in Europe and it's the part of the world where now we are well still for European time and also for colleagues joining from the Americas, which are the ones that we really welcome and are mostly participating in this call. It's the call will like to delve into the mission-oriented approach, and we'll go into that in a minute. Before that, I would just like to give the floor to Miriam Badino from the UTM Secretariat, just to set the scene for the call. So Miriam, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nicola. So first of all, warm welcome also on my side on the Urban Transition Mission Center. So on the Urban Transition Mission side for this first peer-to-peer knowledge exchange organized by the Urban Transition Mission Center, or UTMC as we call it. As you know already, the UTMC is a project funded by the European Commission via 2 million euro calls under the Horizon Program Europe. Has been launched last year. And then it provides also a platform that of knowledge exchange that is online since April this year. The UTMC was born to support the urban transition mission and its cities, and also to create synergies and the link between the UTMC, the UTM cities, and the European and international networks and initiatives that exist already. The UTM seat platform, where we are now essentially, that's hosting also this exchange, is a global community platform that is shaped around the UTM framework, and that provides access to a repository and where you can also find an interactive space for you to engage and discuss around thematic areas, or in general with other cities and with the overall UTMC community. The UTMC in practice has also provides also 60 case studies with good practices, experiences, and insights that responds to what you flagged to us as your needs and challenges. 4 have been already published, meaning Cascais, Miami-Dade, Jitomia, and Torco-Rosawa. Which are already online. It will also host a database of financing opportunities and how to access them, as we saw that financing is one of the key challenges that everyone flags in the UTM cities. You also will find capacity building webinars, again, focused on the challenges that you shared and that we shared on our behalf with the UTMC colleagues. And on top of that, the consortium of the UTMC also organizes peer-to-peer exchanges events like this one that kicked off today, and regional events to further increase capacity building, provide additional opportunities to network and exchange in person. These peer exchanges are particularly meant to explore innovative pathways that you can use in your urban transition, and present you with different methodologies that are applicable, replicable, systemic, and that provide added value to what you already do. The exchange today will be focused on the mission-oriented approach that Nicola will explain shortly, meant as a forward-thinking strategy, so something that addresses systemically your challenges and can help you create a transformative change. And all in all, this and the following exchanges will provide, thanks to what you also share in the discussion and in the exchange, will provide the UTMC team with useful material that they can use to compile at the end a report that compares all the different methodologies and approaches that are used out there globally to implement the zero pathways. And this is meant to be a tool for you, like a guidance that you can use, that you can use to understand what fits you the best, or which one you can use to get inspired and to implement, to complement what you already do. So your experience and the discussion later is super useful and precious for them to understand how you are using that and how it can be useful for you. So you're warmly invited to participate, as usually very actively. And then just before leaving the floor to Nicola, I would like to invite you all to the regional event, the first regional event that is happening on the 9th of November next month in Barcelona at the Smart City Expo World Congress, which is focused, thank you for sharing this, which is focused on the Mediterranean region. And if you plan to come, just let us know. It would be nice to meet in person. And saying that, I'm looking forward to our exchange. And I give the floor to Nicola. Nicola, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Miriam. I'll just give a couple of words more before then giving the floor to Agnes to explain the case study. Before that, I see that some more people have joined. Actually, we are 17, exactly the same number this morning session. And just to repeat for all of you, this is a closed session for UTMCs only to exchange between you. So you're more than welcome to intervene. There will be, after the presentation from Mannheim, a discussion on the mission-oriented approach, and you're all more than welcome to join that and to say and to share your thoughts. And after that, if the discussion, in case you would like to, will continue the UTMC up with a dedicated group on that. So feel free to use this space as your home, let's say, for the next hour or so. If you can just go to the next slide, Alina, just before going to, yeah, thank you. Before going to the case studies, just a few words in terms of what is the topic, like the focus of today's peer-to-peer exchange. It is about the mission-oriented approach, which is very much at the core of what the Urban Transition Mission does. And as such, we wanted to give it a bit more of a definition as a flower. There is no agreed definition what a mission-oriented approach is. Of course, there are plenty of different examples across a lot of sectors and a lot of activities, but there is definitely one that shines a bit more to define a bit or what are the steps of it, and it's the one that is used also by the UACD and the European Union to define it, also inside the various missions that we will look in a moment that the European Union is involved in, and it's based on three main items or two main elements. The first one is to, sorry, if you can just, yeah, get back to, yeah, well, it's fine. Let's say the slide. It's about using a mission-oriented approach as a tool for experimentation in the governance sector, so in the public sector, about multi-level governance and to try to focus all the attention from the public sector towards one specific goal. The second one, it has a nuance, quite more than a nuance, also Hannes will dive more into later, on the financing mechanism, especially new investment mechanism that can pool resources from various stakeholders towards the achievement of a specific goal that is outlined. And also it's a democratization process in which you try to in which the mission tries to harness social movement and citizen participation to be accepted more widely in the society. And if you can go in the next slide, this is of course something that all of you may have experienced to one extent or the other when we talk about climate action in general, as a whole practitioner in that field. But it may also be refined towards more strategic objective in that sense. And the elements in terms of practical implementation of the mission-oriented approach is strategic orientation, and its element of policy coordination that tries to break across the silos inside the city boundaries. What has been done as business as usual is try to change it to reach new equilibria, and to implement policies that may be decided at the political level and that needs a stronger push from the administrative perspective. Uh, why and how could urban transition mission city benefit from it? It's all about defining ways for implementing the climate action strategies and plan that you may already have in place, but you will want to either modify or implement on the ground. It's about trying to harness multi-level governance coordination across the various level to the regional and the national level, and to have specific targets that you would like to focus on inside the wider climate action framework that you have, and to target them in the shortest time frame as possible. And there are, as I said, various examples out there from all over the world. Of course, the mission innovation, the urban transition mission is one. There is cities inside the UTM which are also part of the Indian Smart Cities mission, as well as the carbon neutral zones in Japan, which are other examples of missions which are targeted to cities. And then there is the array of U Horizon missions, which are 5 on cancer adaptation, soil, water, and the one on climate neutral cities. And inside that framework, we have the experience of Mannheim that will share how they did delve into the how, so how they did develop our mission-oriented approach for Mannheim, and what does it entail from the perspective of the city. So after this bit longer than expected introduction, I'll just give you, Agnes, the floor for presenting what Mannheim is doing. And if I can ask you, Alina, to just switch off the slide. In the meantime, I'll put on the slide for you, and if you would like to go with introduction, so.
Yes, thank you, Nicola. So hello, everybody. Thank you for joining our interesting mission. It's not the mission to moon, like the European Union says, to the mission to be climate neutral already in 2030. And so one of the EU missions is called 100 Climate Neutral and Smart Cities by and for the citizens by 2030. And it's more 1.5 years ago that they gave the call out to the cities, and more than 377 European cities have applied, and 100 European Union cities have been selected, and 12 from associated European states. And Mannheim is one of the selected European cities. We are 9 in Germany, and we are now on the mission possible, I hope. So, and I would to explain how we are doing that with the local Green Deal approach. The local Green Deal is coming from the EU Green Deal, European Green Deal, and that is more than climate neutrality. I'm going deeper by explaining that. And so we are we have developed our climate city contract already. And just to show you how we use it for gaining knowledge, how to be climate neutral by 2030 already, and how we can convert the knowledge into action with our stakeholders and citizens. And what does happen if no knowledge is in the city? You see in the little joke here on the slide. So the man doesn't know about the climate change, and he ignored that it is man-made. So I'm sorry. So we are doing other ways in Mannheim, and I want to show you now how we are doing that with the help of the European mission. Next, Nicola. Yes, that is the Net Zero Cities platform. The European mission helps the selected cities to reach climate neutrality by 2030. So 33 organizations like ECLAY or Global Covenant of Mayors help, and think tanks help the cities to develop their overarching plans. And so next slide. They provide a lot of knowledge, and they guide us along this, on the left side, this circle, or circle, how to reach climate neutrality. And I would like to tell you, no, not the story about the what, because technology is really clear how to become climate neutral, but how, and how to involve the citizens and the stakeholders and the politicians in that circle. So first, you have to build not not yet. We are not on stage. Yes, and first you have to build a strong mandate, political mandate, then to understand the system, where come your emissions from, carbon dioxide emissions, and how it belongs together with buildings, mobility, and so on, waste. And then to co-design with your stakeholders in the city and the citizens the portfolio of action. And if you did these three steps, you are able to fill the three parts you see on the right side of the so-called climate city contract. That is more than a climate action plan. It is a commitment plan, already principles, visions, and the priorities of your cities, how to become climate neutral, and signed already by mayors, for example, or companies. And in the middle is the climate city contract, climate city plan, neutrality plan. In European, we have the instrument of the SECAP, so-called Sustainable Energy Climate Action Plans. And the third part, and that is really new for the cities, is the investment strategy. So altogether, the climate neutrality action plan with the commitments and priorities of the city and the visions and the investment strategy, that together is the climate city contract. And we are one of the first of 10 cities awarded with a mission label that we have delivered a transparent, very good climate city contract, and we were awarded by our methods, how we did that. Next slide. Now the curtain is falling. And so every city has a journey, and in the first commitment part of the climate city contract, you have to explain, where do you come from? Where come your missions from? What are the city council decisions for your city, and so on. And so next slide. In Mannheim, we are coming from the United Nations sustainability goals, you already know. And so we have one of the first three cities which implemented the 17 goals into city strategic goals, 7 strategic goals. And these strategic goals are connected with the budget which the departments get every year to work on delivering to the goals. And then came the European Green Deal. And so we decided to be the first city to have a local Green Deal, because the strategy is on the European level to be the first climate neutral continent in the world by 2050 is only possible if in the Cities Act. And so if you put it together with our mission statement, with the sustainability goals and the local Green Deal, and with that approach, we applied for the EU mission to be climate neutral by 2030. So we don't want to be only climate neutral and reduce carbon dioxide emissions. We want to be sustainable and inclusive, to leave no one behind, and to have a just transition. Next. So that was a political background, and we had all these decisions from the city council. So it was a good starting point that they said your next climate action plan has to deliver to the European mission to be climate neutral by 2030. And so you should have a good transition team which is looking over the silos in the administration. So every city has really, really big silos. We have it as well. But we delivered a structure, a new one, directly under the mayor. It's our local Green Deal transition team. And it is the steering group are all the mayors, and every department is part of our working group. And we hired a 14-member team only responsible for delivering commitments for our climate action plan and for the local Green Deal. Next slide. And so in the commitment plan, the first part of the Climate Act city contract, you have to show up your principles, how your city is thinking, how the politicians are thinking, the city council, how your strategies and plans are interconnected together, the overall strategy, which is the local Green Deal in Mannheim. And so we are looking not only on the climate goals, but also on circular economy, biodiversity, buildings, affordable buildings also, and climate-friendly mobility, and also sustainable food. And to get all on board for that local Green Deal and to be really committed to that goal. Next. No, our slogan is ideal for Mannheim, and ideal means, it is ideal for our city if all that comes together. And it means at the same time, we need your contribution, ideal for Mannheim. Next slide. So, and a principle which works in every transformation, in every city, in every change process is you have to think in the interconnection between strategies in your city, structures to build up to implement the strategies, and as cultures that everybody is really mobilized, involved, inspired by the strategy, and the structure is the delivering point that makes it happen. So for the EU mission, you have to think in a new systemic way, the system innovation. So not only to look on one action and one stakeholder and one system point, but to look interconnected stakeholders in close cooperation, working in portfolios of actions to look which action influences another action, has co-benefits or even adverse impacts. And to understand the system, how does it work in your city and with your companies, with your citizens. Next slide. So when you start for the so-called climate city contract, you have to deliver a lot of data and templates to fill. So you have to know your greenhouse gas baseline inventory. So where come your emissions from? Current policies you have on board already in the administration, and also climate neutrality scenarios, how to come to climate neutrality by 2030, 40, 50, what your goal is, and the impact pathways, and also the portfolio description, which actions you need for the carbon dioxide reduction. And also organizational governance things, innovations, interventions, bold measures, social innovations. And you see where the green is, that was already there in Mannheim. And where the construction sign is, that we had to fill for the climate city contract, and we worked hard on the barriers and opportunities, and also on the indicators, monitoring, evaluation, and learning, and new system learning. And the hardest one was financing of action portfolio. Next slide. So the path to climate neutrality in 7 years now, it's not how we work normally in city administration. So we have a plan, we have milestones, we have tasks, and then we are 10 years later and we are looking back, and maybe we have met some challenge or not. And we are looking at the key indicators back. What we have to do now for the mission is to go in strategic experiments forwards and learn between the actions, and maybe we have to change the way between the actions. Next one. And so at every stop, we are looking back and saying, okay, what happened, why it happened, and so on. And then we take further action. So it's a sense making, a continuous learning cycle, evidence-based, to really decide about the relevant actions for change. Next one. So that is our climate action plan. We have designed for the EU mission target that made it really easy, because we had already the templates to fill from the EU mission, and then connected that with our new climate action plan. Next one. So we delivered the carbon dioxide emission inventory and scenarios, and you have to calculate it within your territorial boundaries, not only for the municipality, but for the whole city, all the companies and so on, in scope 1 and scope 2, so buildings and mobility and energy. Next one. And then you have the scenario to have to calculate on science-based fundaments how to come to climate neutrality, which means a net zero greenhouse gas emissions in our case for Mannheim. So to reduce the emissions more than 80% by 2030, and the rest has to be removed through technical and natural things. Next one. And you have to show up in the commitment part how you have co-designed your portfolio of actions together with the city administration, with the politicians, with the companies, with the initiatives, also the initiatives which are not comfortable, maybe Fridays for Future, as you know it probably. And we developed established a voluntary citizen advisory board for that. So, and we had a lot of steering groups, and they all discussed the measures for climate neutrality. Next. So we had this bundle of measures discussed, over 300 activities discussed together in the 8 action fields. And we found out more than 30 top measures, really bold measures, like a decarbonization of our heating network, which reduces our emissions in a really, really big portion or amount. Yeah. Next one. So these are the bold measures, the interventions called, and we connected the interventions also with our local Green Deal, with the action fields. Is it an intervention in building or in waste or mobility or renewable energy, or even in sustainable behavior change and greening the city? Next one. So, and at the end, we could show the portfolio of action is not only depending on the work of the municipality and the Mannheim Group with the energy, housing, and transport utility. It's only 1/3 we can influence. And 1/3 is depending on changing framework conditions from the EU as European Union, national and regional level. And 1/3 is to be done by the private companies, stakeholders, and citizens. And so we had to thought about how we can influence also that third one we have to deliver, and the other 2/3. And there is instrumental mix which could help. And we thought about how to supply or how to give fiscal help or regulations or informations or consultancy or flanking the measures. And you can do it on the multi-level, multi-governance level, or on your municipality level to accompany the measures. Next one. So we did that in our climate city contract. So we showed up that not only the technical measures, the direct reducing emission measures are important, but also the enabling measures. They come before somebody has decided to implement a technical measure. So it's a qualification offensive or a neighborhood of initiative for refurbishment or circular economy network or something like that. Next one. And you have to show also how you would like to monitor, evaluate, and learning during your process to be climate neutral. And so we had a dashboard developed for that, and we can really show how the measures are interconnected together. And we are CDP, this is disclosure reporting, you know, maybe it is worldwide, it's international, and we are first city which has been A-rated. For our transparency to deliver data. Next one. And the really important part was the investment plan, the third part of the climate city contract. And so we had to show how a business case for climate neutrality for the whole city, not only for the municipality, but which private capital we need, how we plan to get the private capital, and so on. Next one. But the special thing of Mannheim is, and it's also a big part in your story to tell. So with your climate city contract, you tell your story. And a really big point in the Mannheim story is the stakeholder involvement and citizen engagement. And so we try to do that with an Ideal for Mannheim campaign and to involve all citizens. Yeah, next one. And so the challenge is to involve also all the administration, so cross-departmental integrated goals in all policies and strategies, that not the mobility strategy is developed far from the climate strategy or the model of spatial orders or urban development goals, that they all work together. And the next challenge is to come from ambition to action with the stakeholder commitments and citizen endorsements of our plans, and the multi-level commitments, because we showed that 1/3 is on a national or regional or EU level to be done to help us to be climate neutral. Next one. So our special point now is as a pilot city within the European mission. So they had a call for pilot cities. They should show up a special challenge, and we choose the challenge to mobilize the city society. And we won that call with our collab, Committed to Local Climate Action Building. And so we create now at the moment a framework how to help the citizens and the companies to be climate neutral. So with information and advice, creating structures, giving incentives, regulation and standards. Next one. And so we do it with our business climate alliance. Big companies are working there, and they have, and also smaller ones, SMEs, and they developed all their really concrete deals. Next one. And we have the Climate Action Agency, where I am the CEO of. It is a non-governmental, non-profit organization, and we provide consultancy, information, local funding programs in all of these sectors: energy, mobility, consumption, food, and so on. And we are going into schools, into companies, in the city administration, develop a lot of campaigns and actions to move forward in that citizen mobilization. Next one. So we have a model flat. You can go in and can look in every room what you can do for your more sustainable lifestyle. So you can check it. You can open the washing machine and you get tips inside and so on. And we have also that model construction sites, refurbishment of private houses. So you can walk in and can have a look how citizens refurbish their houses. And we have an own magazine, a brochure, is a Max 2, maximum 2 degree warming. And we show all the projects we are doing for the citizens, and they can be invited over the brochure and the newspaper. Next one. Yes, but we are doing a lot. We are awarded a lot with that for our work in the Climate Action Agency, but nevertheless, it's shown that more than 90% want to change their lifestyle, but only 60% do it, because people are people and the human behavior is really comfortable. So we have to pick up the people when they make their decisions. And we have to know from the psychologists that people make their decisions along the most relevant argument in the moment when they take the decision, taking the bus, eating sustainable food, buying sustainable clothes, and so on. And so we have to provide faithful arguments, show alternatives to the not wished behavior, and addressing the personal values of the people. That is our work in the collab, in our pilot cities project at the moment. Next. And so we use the 7 doors approach for action so that people come to action over knowledge, wish, skills, optimism, simplify, stimulation, and empowerment. Next. And we use this metaphor or symbol of the house of change. There are a lot of houses of change, and we try to find with the CoLab project the keys for the 7 doors to help the citizens through. That they come from, I know I should do something, to I would like to do something, I can do something, I know it, and it's worse, yes. And it's easy to do. And now I join, and yes, it was successful. And at the end, you come in the Hall of Fame of the city of Mannheim. We have a success room where we show all the successful deals in the city. Next one. So for us is after the Climate City contract is before the Climate City contract. So we have now the mission label. It's a really, really great honor for our work. But more action is ideal for Mannheim. And so we are going forward. And I hope you got some insights from a Climate City contract and how the EU mission can help in your work.
Yeah, and thank you very much, Agnes, again for the presentation and for the small marathon of today, doing it 2 times. That is also remarkable, but very insightful in that sense. So maybe while I ask to Alina to put back the slide on the screen, I will ask if there is an immediate reaction or Q&A from anyone in the audience. In case, just feel free to raise your virtual hand or to write in the chat. And while waiting, like just a bit of time for you to formulate your question, maybe I'll take the opportunity also to introduce our colleague Bart, which will also support in the discussion part. I don't know, Bart, if you want just to say something from your side.
Sure. Thank you, Nicola. And yeah, my name is Bart. I've joined the project recently and actually joined ICLEI recently. So I'll be happy to support each and everyone on this this project and look forward to work with every one of you in the discussion. I think we can further go on with some, kind of addressing some questions, which I think Nicola would explain a little bit more on how we do and how we go about. Thank you, Nicola.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Bart. And just looking at the clock, I think we have around 20 minutes for the discussion, and then we'll just reserve a little bit of time at the very end for some practical next steps of what we will get out of those 2 sessions and what is planned ahead in terms of the peer-to-peer exchanges. As you see here, of course, you're more than welcome in case you have questions for Agnes in terms of what is being done in the city of Mannheim. But being this a peer-to-peer exchange, we also would like to know a bit more from your side, from your perspective. You're all city practitioners. You all have also some examples from your side that you may want to share. And what we would like to know a bit more, if also based on the presentation from Agnes, on a bit of an understanding of the mission-oriented approach, if you think like this methodology may be useful for implementing your climate action plan, or if you're already doing something similar that you would like to share at your city level. If also connecting to the second point of the mission-oriented approach on the investment plan, this is, as you heard from the presentation from Mannheim, this was something very new for them. We were wondering if this is something that you're also struggling with, or you will have maybe examples, like positive examples, to share to the audience. And in general, if you have any an impression from this presentation that you would like to share with us.
Everybody's shy today.
Oh, I see Mark. One. Yeah, please, Mark, go ahead.
Hi, Nicola. Thank you for the presentation. I thought it was really interesting. I a lot of similarities with what we have already done in Greater Manchester. I'm quite envious of Mannheim's approach to the graphics, though. I think your approach is prettier than ours. Some of the challenges we've had, so we adopted a mission-based approach 4 years ago. And I think for the first 2 years, it worked well. So we had about 150 organizations, maybe 200 organizations working with us in challenge groups, which sounds very similar to what Mannheim have done. But I think after 2 years, we found that mission-based approach started to plateau. And we'd got some initiatives underway, and there was a lot of focus on the delivery, which was good. But then that delivery became, it became somebody or an organization's responsibility to deliver. And the stimulation of new ideas to go to the next stage, or to move from a demonstrator to something that was at scale, that the mission-based approach didn't quite work for us in that. But so we're still undertaking this exercise, but we're putting a lot more emphasis on the challenge groups around how do we do more, because the first tranche, if you like, has worked relatively well, but it isn't having the impact that we need it to. So the emphasis now is on how do you go to the next level and take it on. We have started to put some investment planning alongside it. And our next 5-year environment plan we're going to launch next autumn will have a much more cohesive investment plan sitting alongside it. But it's quite challenging to estimate the cost of some of these measures without doing quite a lot of research. And even then, it's a bit finger in the air. It's an estimate. So I guess I'm very supportive of the approach in general. I think it has a lot of benefit, but it takes quite a lot of work to keep it going, and to keep it stimulated and to keep coming up with new ideas is actually more challenging than you might think. And I think there's something about refreshing those challenge groups on a regular basis to try and bring more people in, because people get centered on what we're already doing, which is great, but it's not enough. So I don't know whether Mannheim has these documents in English. If you do, I'd love to see them. So if you could point those to me, Agnes, I'd be appreciative. I think the approach is really good. I think it has worked for us, but there is something about learning the lessons of what we've already achieved and taking it on to the next stage. And I wouldn't mind Agnes's view on that, and whether you found the same thing, that you start to level out over a period and you need something to reinvigorate it. Thank you.
Can I reply? Yeah, thank you very much for the insights from Manchester. Yes, that is why we choose a really new governance structure, which is not working in special departments. And so we hired 8 young people, and they are not only temporarily hired, but they get really good paid jobs for forever in the city. And they only there to bring the plans and strategies to the people on the streets, and to discuss with them deals, and also with the companies. And that is really successful at the moment. We have collected more than 200 ideas for concrete measures and deals in the last 3 months. So it's a really new structure, and we try to think really in an innovative way, as I try to explain over strategic experiments, what are really relevant activities and how can we support flanking these activities. So I hope that it will be a sustainable approach, and we stay on the mission. So thank you very much for your insights. And yes, of course, it's another challenge. It all is in English. So all the cities have to deliver the plans in English. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Agnes, and thanks also, Mark. That's also a great insight from a city that's has been already undertaking the project since a bit longer time, and may have already some lessons learned in that sense. I'm not sure if some other colleagues would like to share something. I see there are a lot of colleagues connecting from the Americas. It would be nice also for us to understand a bit of your perspective in terms of the approach, and if you have already heard about it, and imagine so, and if you are implementing in some way or another in your city. Again, don't be too shy to just take the floor. It's quite a close group.
It seems it was too much. I was too fast.
I was too complete. No question.
But it is complex, so it's not easy to explain it in 15 or 20 minutes because what I tried to explain you it was a work for over months, and the contract has over 200 pages.
I'm also just giving a prompt for some more discussion, interested in how the colleagues online maybe manage the plan in an integrated way, or how you dealt with the engagement of people, of business, or of citizens across the across the community. How you put the investment like on bits and pieces of what Agnes said. I don't want to call names. I just see some people put on the video. Maybe you want to share your thoughts. I see Ricardo, Ante, Cristina. Yes, of course.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, nice. Well, in our experience, like from municipality of Renca, we actually have an action plan, but we'll update that plan. And I think the main problem we are facing now is kind of financing the projects we propose in the climate plan. We already are implementing now. We don't have the proper indicators to measure the impact of that specific project, adaptation or mitigation, or the amount of greenhouse gases reduction, and this kind of like super indicators. We have some indicators about community impact, or maybe the I don't know, the in terms like the amount of waste we already seeing, but I think we need more indicators like to demonstrate, I don't know, for the companies or to like the national this project kind of work for this specific vulnerability we have in the city. So I think that's something we have to work in. We are our plan, so I think we have to create more indicators, and we are working with other municipalities and other organizations like to create these proper indicators to do the plan.
It's a big part of the EU mission to accompany in the cities this monitoring, evaluation, and learning cycles, and they developed or collected a big indicator set. It's available on the Net Zero Cities platform, so you can find all what I said, the steps on the cycle to climate neutrality. You find a lot of papers there.
And Ricardo, I see your hand raised.
Sorry?
And just if Ricardo, if you would like to, yes, to say something. Yeah.
First of all, I send a big greeting to all of you. I have some connection problems, so can you hear me correctly?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so I give you my comments. First of all, thank you UTM for the opportunity that you gave to Peñolem to participate in the UTM meeting in Saudi Arabia the last week, in which Carol Owen participated in our behalf. For those who do not know us, Peñalolén is a commune that is part of the 52 communes of the metropolitan region of Chile, located on the foothills of Santiago of Chile. In Chile, there are 346 municipalities, and Peñalolén stands out among those that have made the most progress in the fight against the climate change. Our mayor has prioritized climate management and have given the maximum relevance with the municipal management, which is an exception within the total of municipal management in our country. With broad community participation of different environment programs such as recycling, composting, water, energy, and conservation of foothills. Taking these two aspects into account, I have two questions to Agnes. I would like to ask you, what is the relevance of the political authority in your city in the success of the process that you have carried out in Mannheim? And what have been the case through which you have managed the involvement of the community in the programs or initiatives that you implement?
The second, can you repeat the second part of the question? The first I understood. The second.
See, what is the keys through which you have managed the involvement of the community in the programs or initiatives that you implement in Mannheim?
Okay, thank you. First, yes, you are absolutely right. Without the political will, you cannot go on a mission because you need that strong mandate, and you need the mandate from the top down, from the politicians, but also from your leaders, decision makers in the administration. So if there is no commitment from that level, from the city council as well, so you cannot go for a mission. So you cannot build your rocket to the moon if they don't give the material and the power to you. That's the first one. Yes, of course, it's really, really important for Mannheim. We have a really open-minded mayor. He is world mayor, Peter Kurz, our former mayor. We have now a new one, but he's also open for international exchange. And so we are walking since 10 years on a really international and open level and exchange. And the keys for involving or involving or engaging the city society was, so the fundament was laid through the United Nations goals, the sustainability goals. We had a big movement in the city to discuss how do you want to live in the year 2030, and that movement we took over to the mission for climate neutrality. But the arguments why people act or decide to act is not climate neutrality. So it is the co-benefits. It's health, it's fitness, it's money, it's maybe freedom, it's something like that. And you have to show up for the people. What is the benefit for you? It's not only money, it's really easy things. And to make the decision to do something better very easy. That was what we try now with the 7 doors, and to give them the keys during consultancy, information, finding the products they want to buy, and so on. Give incentives, give them applause, make them visible, and so on.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
Welcome.
Indeed, thank you. And I think, those are, definitely important points. And I think, discussion along the lines is, it's quite useful. I think, a couple of times we heard about financing, while from the experience of Manchester, we also heard about the fact that it's something that needs to keep going. And of course, the political commitment is important for it, but then you also have to advance and constantly update your activities and your targets. I see that we are slightly almost at time, and we still have something to tell you in terms of next steps. I don't know if there is any other reaction or comment for the discussion. We will of course prioritize it because it's quite interesting always to hear from your side.
Nicola, if I may have a question for Agnes.
Yeah, of course.
Great, thanks, Agnes. Now that City of Mannheim has got the label, do you think that helps in the long run, like kind of makes it easier for you to do it, or I mean to achieve further goals, or is it kind of not a big change? Again, I know you're pretty much there, but for other cities there have the ambition to achieve the label and kind of continue on, it would be probably important to get some feelings from your side.
Yeah. Already the way to get the label was really helpful because we have to answer all these questions. This was a big assessment for us, so it helped already. But now, so I can put a little pressure on the national level and on the European level to the governments, because you have seen that we need the regulatory and the financially framework conditions to reach 1/3 of our carbon dioxide emission goals. And so now I can say, I have delivered, I did my work, and now how can you support us cities with the mission label? We did our work, and we need really help in the investment strategies. And we try that to be a pilot, first German pilot, to have an investment strategy of a completed, nearly completed investment strategy, and to get with the label the help. So I will run with a label to everybody to help us.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, and thank you again. And yeah, definitely the label. We think it will absolutely help in that sense. It's 5 sharp, so we don't. We started a bit late, so we'll just still a few more minutes. But I think we will need to move on. Just also to flag to all of you, we will be more than happy to continue the discussion afterwards as a thread in the UTMC app, where we will also put all the information about the session. And whatever I see from the chats has been requested in Mannheim CCC. I think this is not possible, but of course, if you have anything from your side, Agnes, that you would like to share, feel free to send it to us so that we can share with all the cities. In terms, thank you again. Then, if you have to leave, thanks, and have a nice afternoon. So, just for a few
Thank
minutes. Thank you, Agnes. So just for a few minutes more, we would just like to tell you in terms of what was the framework of this meeting and what we would like to go next for. So maybe Alina, just quickly give you the floor to run us through that part. I think we cannot hear you.
Is it working now? Can you hear me?
Now
Yeah,
it's working.
okay. Thank you. So I'm Alina, I'm Junior Officer at ICLEI. As we don't have time, I will just quickly inform you that the mission-oriented approach is part of this comparative methodological review analysis that we are currently doing. We are doing it to understand which approaches and methodologies would help better in supporting the existing climate action strategies at a city level, and we try to focus on more practical guidance and tools, and as well include an example from a city that is implementing it. In this case, it was Mannheim. Based on the feedback that we, so the review, the methodology is usually the topic of the peer-to-peer exchanges, and based on the feedback that we received from the discussion, as it happened today, we are aiming to draft a practical implementation guide that together with the methodological review are going to be shared on the Urban Transition Mission platform. In the case of the mission-oriented approach, we are almost finalizing it, and we expect to be sharing it with you by November. So just to recap again, we are going to prepare other methodology to review other methodologies, and in the next years we are planning to have around 2 peer-to-peer exchanges per year. And the next ones that we are thinking of, the next methodologies on that we would like to analyze are the following ones: the ICLEI Green Climate Cities, the Sustainable Urban Standards. The next one in line would be the donut economics, as it is quite comprehensive and might provide the relevant material. But of course, we would like to hear from you. What do you think is best, and what do you think would help you at a city level? So please provide us maybe your feedback either via email or in chat, or just even now to, if you can intervene, feel free. I don't know, I was quite running, so I don't know, Nicola, if I forgot anything, please feel free to intervene.
Yeah, no, thank you, Alina. That was absolutely comprehensive. I would just stress the fact there will be around 4 other events of such type throughout next year, with the annexed guide on the methodologies that we would like to go for. And again, this is very much an idea that's coming from our side. The mission-oriented approach was kind of a no-brainer in that sense, given the urban transition mission. But we're more than open to hear from you if you have any either different feeling in terms of what you would like to see and to delve into, or if you would like to be featured as a city in one of the ones that you see listed there. And in terms of the timing of this, the next one should happen around February next year, and then once every 2-3 months, according to the availability. So not sure if there is any immediate reaction on that part here.
Nicola, maybe I just want to say that, as I mentioned this morning, that we have discussions between the UTM and the donut economic team. So of course we will make sure that we align. We may have first training or explanation of what is the donut economic in cities soon. So in the sense before the end of the year. So we can, of course, we will align our, in the sense, the UTM activities and your activities, so that we make a nice package for the cities. So that you know that is taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely, and thank you, for pointing it out. I forgot to mention, but yeah, we're more than happy that this is already taking shape somehow. If there is no other question, I think we can close the meeting a little bit over time. But yeah, thank again for Agnes. We had to leave, but to run us through the presentation of Mannheim, and of course thank to Miriam, Alina, Bart, and everyone in the call for participating. So thank you very much, and have a nice day or evening, depending on where you are.
Thank you for organizing.
Thank you
everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Have a nice day and evening.